local Ashley store is now offering 0% interest for 6 years on all Tempur-Pedic purchases until the end of the year. Click the link or visit ashley.com for better sleep and savings. Ashley.
There we go. Well. Good evening, race fans of the internet. Welcome back to TDTV here once again with another presentation of the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. This time, round number 11 from the beautiful Rockingham Speedway here in Rockingham, North Carolina. Of course, I am your host, Mr. Ryan Williams. Joining me once again will be the co-host here at TDTV up in the booth with me, Mr. Matt Pridgett. And Matt, we are joining each other once again here, but as a pair, this will be our first taste of intermediate track action here with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. We're kind of used to the short tracks up to this point. This should be a lot different, but still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, seeing how these guys, race each other on this bigger track. We saw Dover, it's a mile long. Pretty good racing there, and of course with New Smyrna and Five Flags the past 2 weeks, good racing the short track. So curious to see if the good clean racing can transfer over to the big track.
I am as well, and we look back at last week here. Looks like our race winner from that race not in attendance here tonight. So this opens it up for somebody else to try and take that over and go to victory lane here. Speaking of a couple of our previous winners you've seen here on TDTV, Brian Hacker, of course, in the building. Josh Dube in the building. Some other guys that have been quick. Jeff Clifton, Jeff Dillon. Chris Stump was quick last week. Man, Seisler's been pretty good. Alan Carter's back in the house. And I'm not seeing... Let's see if Thomas Frisch... Yes, he's in here. He is currently fourth quick in practice. But before we look at some practice times so far, let's take a look at the track configuration that we're looking at here. About almost a mile is the rock here in beautiful Rockingham, North Carolina. And Reed's got it set on, I believe, 77 degrees. 41% chance of rain, clear skies, 6-mile-an-hour winds, and it's pretty similar to what we saw just 1 week ago as we visited the Five Flag Speedway down in the great state of Florida. But here in North Carolina, we're about ready to do some racing. Just a minute or two left here in open practice, and while we're rounding out that time, let's go ahead and show you some of these times here. Chris Stump is your fastest man, 27-second lap time. Hacker at a almost mirroring 27:07.2. Dube third quick. Tripp fourth quick. Frisch rounds out the top five here in qualifying. And Matt, just 2 races left in the season for SOAR, and they are trying to round out this points battle. You got Frisch just in front of Clifton. Still has about a 50-point margin at this point in the game. So another run like he's been having. If Clifton can't have any luck, it looks like Frisch is going to wrap it up here tonight, Matt.
Yeah, we saw him. Saw Clifton leave early last week due to some internet issues, but hopefully he's got that all resolved up and can maybe close the gap between him and Thomas Frisch.
It is very possible as qualifying starting to take to the speedway. First one out, you will see Dylan Sale here in his number 12 out of Port Orange. Not sure where exactly that's at. Matt, if you want to look that up and let me know where this young man is from, out of Port Orange. I've never heard this one, but he's on track for his first of 2 qualifying laps. So is the 54 Thomas Frisch there, your current points leader out of the great state of Wisconsin. Brian Toller, I believe, on track as well in the number 2 machine. As well as there's Jeff Dillon, your number 52. Has only run a handful of races with the series so far, but he's been fast every time we have seen him. And you have Matt Seisler there in the 93. And let's see some lap times start to come in here as Thomas Frisch, the first one to take the top spot And now Clifton going to jump in there in the number 18 out of Yadkinville, North Carolina. Gets a little loose on lap 2. Clifton going to lose all sorts of momentum. But he clocks in 27.152, excuse me, Frisch at a 27.292. Dube third quick. Right now, Michael Hall fourth. Brian Toller rounds out the top 5 here, Matt. And I believe we got some others on the track.
Yeah, I looked it up, and Port Orange looks to be a little north of New Smyrna Beach, Florida. So not too far from where we were actually racing at the other week.
Absolutely not. Not too far at all as Joshua Dube goes second quick there in the number 9 car.
And the 11 of Kenny Tripp is now on the track, going into turn 3, about to take his checkered flag. I'm assuming he's hit the wall at least once. We'll see if he gets a time here.
Yeah, Kenny
and
Tripp.
He does. He'll jump up to the 7th position.
Exactly. Kenny Tripp, a new driver to the channel here, as well as to the series out of Lewiston, Maine. He comes to us tonight in a beautiful number 11 car. New quick time at, it's Chris Stump out of Compton, Georgia, in the number 98. He'll put up a lap time very, very quick. Sitting right now at a 27.07. That's a little bit quicker than Hacker's 27.14, who sits in the second place currently.
Yeah, and we saw he had quick time last week as well. Last week was his first race. Second race this week. Curious to see how he'll do. And now Reed Christensen's just completed his first lap of qualifying, and he'll be in the 13th position with a time of 27.623, but he's got that one more lap. Let's see if he can put her on the top of the boards.
That is exactly right. Christensen looking to make it happen here. You saw him take his first lap around the top side here at the Rock. Now working the bottom as he comes down the front straightaway. Let's see what kind of time Reed's able to knock off here. He will jump it just a couple of spots. Christensen into the top 11 there. He go 11th quick on lap number 2 for car number 30. I believe that will be just about everybody taking a time besides Chad Pilot, who I believe hit the wall on both laps. Zach Coyer, I believe, not taking a time so far, Matt, as right now these guys just going to take a couple of minutes to gather their breath before we get into tonight's 60 lap, a main event here at the beautiful Rockingham Speedway. And I mean, so far, man, we've seen some great racing here on TDTV. We've only been doing this for now 3, make it 4 weeks when you include this broadcast here, and it's all so far been sore, and it's all been short track. So I'm looking to see a drastically different type of race, especially for the guys that are battling towards the front. Multiple lanes of racing we should be able to see, and this is going to be, I believe, drastically different from the short tracks that we're used to right now. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the short tracks, they break off into packs, and they kind of spread out a little bit. This track, I think we're going to see a lot more tight, close pack racing throughout the whole field. Like from first to last is going to be, a little bit closer together than we've seen at these short tracks. You're going to, see some drafting, some bump drafting, possibly. And actually, since the winner from last week isn't here, our lineup's going to be exactly how we see it.
Exactly. Your lineup is going to be exactly how you see it. The grid taking to the speedway. There are your qualifying results on your screen right now. We'll take that down, pull up your starting grid for tonight's A-main event. As we'll scroll back just a little ways here, Chris Stump going to be leading us to the green. Brian Hacker outside front row. Jeff Clifton, Joshua Dube, row 2. Michael Hall, Thomas Frisch, row 3. I believe Kenny Tripp, Matt Seisler, row 4. Alan Carter, Jeff Dillon round out the top 10. Matt, what we got throughout the field?
And we got Reed Christensen rolling off in 11th, Daniel Brown in 12th, Brian Toller 13th, Daniel Sell 14th, Zach Coyer 15th, and Chad Pilot in the 3, rolling off shotgun of the field in 16th.
So there's your shotgun on the field. 16 cars ready to do battle here at the beautiful Rockingham Speedway. This place, formerly on the NASCAR circuit for quite some time. As of recently, Matt, the talks have been about getting this track, Rockingham Speedway, back in action. I'm not sure of anything that I've seen, but have you heard anything about the potential for Rockingham Speedway to come back into the NASCAR circuit?
I haven't heard anything about the NASCAR circuit, but I do know there's like local racing, like local late model guys, street stock guys, trucks, all that stuff. They're wanting. I think they like to race up there. I know they did back in the day a good bit.
Yeah, they did a good bit back in the day, and of course we see a lot of those shorter tracks in North Carolina are starting to gain some momentum again, especially North Wilkesboro, which we haven't seen this series at, unfortunately, here on TDTV. But North Wilkesboro Motor Speedway obviously was a very, very big deal in North Carolina and in NASCAR, and now it is for dirt track racing, as they're going to have the what are they calling that event, Matt? I know XR's putting it on. Is it the Racetrack Revival they're trying to do up at Rockingham next month? So that's going to be an absolute blast. But as for tonight, we are here at The Rock with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association here on the iRacing servers, as that iRacing pace car, it's finally going forward here. I believe lights are out, Matt, so we're going to be going short track, or actually intermediate track, for the street stocks racing here in just one lap. And before we get into this one, what are you expecting here, Matt? This is going to be good.
Man, I've been spoiled for the past 2 weeks with a whole race going green. That's kind of what I'm expecting in this race, but maybe with the drafting and maybe a couple people bump drafting or whatever, it might throw a little bit of monkey wrench in it at some points of the race.
Well, we got 60 laps to find out. We're going to find out if Matt is correct about that one. I'm not quite expecting it here, as tight as this place seems to get as we move along. So, ladies and gentlemen, sitting at home, make sure you got your popcorn, your drinks, your alcoholic beverage, whatever the case may be, because the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association is green flag racing here at The Rock, and here we go.
Tight jump between the front row. They eat dead even going into turn one. We see the 15 following behind the 98 of Chris Stump, moving up to the second place position, and double file the rest of the way of the field so far.
Yeah, man, that's Jeff Clifton trying to get in on the action here early. As we switch the cameras around, you guys get an up-close and personal view as the 98 is Stump all over the berm on the bottom here, and he drifts way high. This might be Clifton's opportunity to take a lead here as we work into lap 2, into turns 1 and 2 here at Rockingham. Further back, Matt, look at this. We got 3 wide right now. Frisch in the 54, the 93 of Seisler, the 11 of Tripp. Everybody jostling for position here on lap 2.
Yeah, the running order right now looks nothing like it did a lap ago. There's been a lot of position changes so far, as we are seeing, again, some pretty decent clean racing. Jeffrey Clifton out front, Brian Hackern following real close in second.
Yeah, man, and you see, whoa, 5 car into the 54, Frisch into the wall. Frisch into the wall hard. And that's going to trigger a caution here for Thomas Frisch, who is your current points leader. And we're going to kick it in TDTV rewind and see exactly what happened to your current points leader, Thomas Frisch. They're in the 54. We're going to take it back here and watch them out of turn number 4 here. 5 machine gets way sideways. That is Michael Hall into Thomas Frisch, and into the inside wall goes your current points leader. I believe Michael Hall got a little bit worse out of that incident. So we'll see what happens with both of those guys, as Hall looks like he is a little worse for wear, but overall car still drivable. And Thomas Frisch, some damage on the 54 as well. Might have to burn that fast repair, as I do believe these drivers get 1 fast repair for the event. And both Frisch and the 5 machine of Hall seem to be about to use it here.
Yeah, it's showing they only get 1 fast repair. So Thomas Frisch and 5 of Michael Hall using theirs up now, which I don't blame them. The cars are pretty beat up right now. We're gonna get a. That's the beauty of iRacing. You can tear them up and hit a reset button.
Well, I'm wondering what happened here with the 52 of Jeff Dillon. We're going to hit our TDTV rewind button one more time because Jeff Dillon also in pit road. What happened with the 52 there, Matt? Did you see any of that? He's got some damage to the right side of his car, and we're going to rewind all the way until we find out what happened with Dillon.
Yeah, I didn't see it live, but you know.
Well, he was
Okay,
definitely involved in this
now,
one. I'm seeing it right now. Oh, that 5 car gets up into him. Dillon hard into the wall there. Another one of your fast guys involved here. So the TDTV replay coming in handy. They're showing us exactly what happens. Is Jeff Dillon involved as well? He'll be out of the pits. So is Michael Hall and Thomas Frisch back in again. And to me, it looks like Frisch right now is trying to take the time damage repair instead of his quick repair. So that may be a smart move this early on here at Rockingham. But Matt, as far as your earlier call about maybe going green to checker again, that one's out the window here on lap number. I believe caution came out on lap 4 there.
iRacing showed me lap 6, but yep, you know, I'm still impressed by how these drivers have done. I mean, they went 166 laps without a caution. But, I kind of figured different track style, maybe it changed the driving up a little bit.
Yeah, and it has so far. And we're seeing your guys that have been fast all year up there battling for the lead right now whenever we get back going here. But the pace car is dipping off here, so we're going to go back green flag racing. New leader is Jeff Clifton trying to get back in the lead for the points battle. And they're going to take the green flag working into lap number 7 here. And one thing that I wanted to tell you, I believe caution laps are counting. So if we continue having them, this race is going to click off very, very quickly. As now the 15 of Clifton, nice little lead here as he heads down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. Right behind him, though, Stump and Hacker going at it for second place.
Yeah, that first green flag run there really fell into Clifton's hands a little bit for not just only the race, but for points too, as we saw, points leader Thomas Frisch unfortunately getting taken out, but he also jumped into the lead, and he's starting to pull off just a little bit, but Brian Hacker and Chris Stump racing too wide.
That they are, and speaking of too wide, we got a 3 wide battle towards the middle of the pack here. Matt Seisler on the bottom. Christensen was up top with the 11 of Tripp in the middle. Now Tripp able to escape this battle as we pull up the high cam here and show you this entire field as they continue to race side by side. Hacker and Stump almost getting together coming out of turn number 2. They got Joshua Dube right in behind us. Hacker currently has that second spot. Now Stump back into it as we work out of turn number 4 here. Clifton with a nice little advantage as they continue to work off some laps here at the Rock. Let's quickly look at our guys that were involved in that caution here. Is Frisch, the first of those drivers, starting to work their way back towards the front. Michael Hall and Jeff Dillon both still at the back of the pack for the time.
Yeah, it could be the case of they're trying to save tires. We've seen that the past 2 weeks. We talked to Reed Christensen on the podcast this past week, and he said he wish he'd started in the back to conserve tires. So you got to wonder if those guys are in the back or just riding around biding their time.
You absolutely do. And speaking of conserving tires, these guys at the front, that is not what they're doing right now, because they are putting on an absolute clinic, starting to walk away from 5th on back. As you see there, the gap between your 4th and 5th place man, as Kenny Tripp's trying to make his way back towards the top 4 here. Is Brian Hacker on the tail end of that pack as Joshua Dube makes a pass to the inside of Chris Stump. Now Chris Stump back behind Hacker. Stump's going to try and get down to the bottom, but here comes that 11. Kenny Tripp pretty fast here, Matt. That's a beautiful looking number 11 car, if I do say so myself. Got some old school vibes on that one. And some more old school vibes. The Baja Blast machine and the Budweiser Special coming into play here. Currently riding in 6th and 7th.
Certainly. Reed Christensen's been making his way up the field pretty pretty quickly here. He's not wasting any time trying to break into the top 5.
Absolutely not, Matt. You look back towards the front of your pack here. 3-car battle for the lead right now as Joshua Doob has taken it away from Jeff Clifton on the bottom side of the racetrack. Clifton may have heard us talking about tires, and he's going to pull up to the top to try and conserve some of them. A bump draft on the bottom from, I believe that's Hacker to Doob. And here comes the other 11 car. We got a 2-11 car dance right now as your number 11 of Kenny Tripp coming into the mix as well here. Everybody has caught each other, and we got a big pack forming at the front here, Matt. Looking like we're racing Talladega, but we're at the Rock.
Yeah, and this is exactly the kind of race that I was talking about. You know, there's 6 or 7 of them right there together. Any car slips up, they're going to lose about 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, they absolutely are. But right now, the only person losing 4 or 5 positions is Chris Stump. As Stump has fallen all the way from the lead, he's back scored in the 7th spot. So minus 6 spots for the race so far. Remember, he started in the 2nd position. He'll jump back down to the bottom behind Alan Carter. Now Brian Hacker pressuring for that 2nd place spot on the inside of 2nd place in points. Jeff Clifton, current leader Josh Doob with about a nose length advantage over those two, and getting a great push from Kenny Tripp. Kenny Tripp looks to the bottom, now looks high, but that number 11 is going to hug the double yellow line. And right behind him, Christensen, Carter, they're side by side. And Matt, don't forget about him, Thomas Frisch, making his way back into the race.
He has, and I know he's liking watching this battle going on, to keep up. Because he'll be able to keep up a little bit easier, conserve tires, because those guys are racing hard. It's slowing their lap times down, but, everybody trying to get that position right now.
Absolutely. And there's a driver that I'm seeing here about mid-pack right now. Chad Pilot in this number 3 car. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we saw this young man in action at Sumter Speedway earlier this season when the Southeastern Hornets came to town. He's got a number 3 front-wheel drive car that is actually a mirror image of his iRacing car here, the throwback to Dale Earnhardt Sr. So good to see Chad in the mix here with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association here on the iRacing servers, currently running in the 10th position. Now let's switch our camera focus way back up front as we've got 2 wide for the lead, Matt. Doob and Hacker at it again.
Yeah, they are, and these asphalt racing, it seems like any track really, the high side's not exactly where you want to be. But Josh, these guys seem to be making it, stick for a little while at least. We saw Jeffrey Clifton up there for a little while. Now he's back down on the bottom, trying to peek his nose up underneath the 9 of Joshua Doob.
Absolutely right. So let me change our cameras way back up to the front here as I was taking a look at Zach Coyer, who was a little bit loose down the back straightaway. As we come down the front stretch, though, Hacker leading the 9 of Doob by, I don't know, a 1/10 of a second that time at the line. These guys as close as it gets, Matt. This is anybody's ball game, anybody's race, however. Actually, right now, excuse my little stutter there, anybody's race so far. Clifton still in the top 3. Christensen into the top 5. Tripp in the 11 car. He is fast. This is an unknown to us, so good to see a new driver in the mix here and challenging for a top 3 spot there in that 11 car. And here comes Matt Seisler, a guy that we've seen in the mid-pack a lot this season. Good to see him with a nice run. He's up into the 6th spot currently.
Yeah, and so far since we've been doing these broadcasts, I can't remember about Dover, but I do know the past 2 weeks we've had, first time. We saw 2 drivers for the first time, and they each won.
Right.
Now we got a new driver, Kenny Tripp. Wonder if he can put it in victory lane, keep the trend going.
That's something that we're really going to be watching for here. As we're 23 laps in here at the Dover we're at the Rock, and caution will wave once again, and I'm going to try and see exactly what happened here. See who it was. I believe Daniel Brown in the number 33, the trigger for the caution. And we're going to once again take it to the TDTV replay. Let's rewind here and see what happens to your number 33. So he's racing there, Matt. We're in replay right now, racing with the number 98, and in front of him, everybody just gets together. It is an absolute cluster. You see the 3 machine involved here. I believe it jumps off with the 3 and the 12. So we're actually going to go to the number 3 of Chad Pilot here. And we're going to rewind it just a little bit more because I want to see what happened between he and the 12. A little bit of a push from the 12 car, both into the wall. A bit of a, I'm not going to say it because that is a head-on collision. Luckily, this is just iRacing, and Chad Pilot is A-OK here. So Matt, 25 laps in of 60 here at the Rockingham Motor Speedway. Pretty good race so far. These guys 2 and 3 wide all over this 9/10 of a mile speedway.
Yeah, aside from the 2 cautions we've had so far in these 25 laps, you know, it's been really good racing. I mean, we've seen big movers, we've seen people staying up front, we've seen people fall back, but for the most part, there's a big pack up front, and really, it's any of them's race.
It absolutely is. So just a quick rundown while we're sitting here waiting on us to go back. Green Flag Racing, Brian Hacker is scored your current leader. Joshua Dube in the 9 scored second. Kenny Tripp in the 11 scored third. Jeff Clifton 4th. Reed Christensen 5th. Then you go back to Matt Seisler, Zach Hoyer, Thomas Frisch back into the top 10. Michael Hall and Brian Toller round out the top 10. I believe Alan Carter scored in 11th. Dylan Sales scored 12th. Daniel Brown will be scored 13th. Chris Stump 14th. 15th, Chad Pilot when he gets back out. And Jeff Dillon in the 52 went to pit road to continue to repair damage. He will be back in the 16th spot. Those are all your cars that are on the racing surface right now. As I believe we're doubled up. Lights out on the iRacing pace car here, Matt. We're going back to Green Flag Racing out of turn number 4.
Yeah, and so far you got a couple big movers. You got Reed Christensen and Zach Coyer. Zach Coyer started 15th and is now currently 7th. And Reed started 11th and is currently 5th. But I think Zach Coyer's gained more positions. I'm
yes.
Off the top of my head, it was a guess.
Yeah, man, you are absolutely right. Biggest mover so far, Zach Coyer. But as we exit turn number 4, that iRacing pace car is going to make a left-hand turn down into the pits here. Matt, it's time to boogie at the Rock once again. We're back on our way here. Hacker, great restart in the number 11 as we are off and running into turns 1 and 2. Going to kick it down to the up-close and personal camera to get a look at Brian Hacker's number 11. He leads Josh Dube, Kenny Tripp, now into the 3rd spot.
Yeah, nobody was ready for that start at all, but they seem to have gotten it together, and the 9 didn't lose much ground to the 11 of Brian Hacker on that restart. But behind him, Kenny Tripp's following close behind in the 3rd position.
Absolutely not. As we're going to ride on board the rear view camera here with the 15 of Jeff Clifton, you just see how close these cars are to the ground in the bottom of the turns here, just about centering out, just about smacking the ground with these chassis. You see Reed Christensen on the tail end of Jeff Clifton. But Jeff, so far, good race for him as he's way down on the berm here, down the front straightaway as he's inside the 11. 11 doesn't give him any room. Both cars way sideways. What a save, Matt.
Yeah, I saw them make contact, but I didn't see them get sideways because I was watching Thomas Frisch trying to stick his nose up under the 16 of Zach Coyer. Now goes to the outside of Jeffrey Clifton trying to make it 3 wide. Can't make it work, so he'll fall back in line behind the 16 of Zach Coyer, while Clifton is on the inside of Zach Coyer trying to get around him for the 6th position. Yeah,
man, Clifton in a bad spot right now after that contact with Kenny Tripp. Now Clifton finds himself in a precarious position with the man that he's trying to catch and points to his outside. Got to hold him off. Got to get back in front of him here. That's the name of the game. Currently rides in the 8th spot. Frisch scored 9th, and Clifton way loosey-goosey off of turn number 4. That's going to cost him the spot. Thomas Frisch scored with it at the line here. Now let's see if he's able to clear him here. We're going to keep all eyes on this battle right now between your first and second in points here as we're working round number 11 of 12. So this one just about for all the marbles as it goes for the points battle here with the Southern Outlaws.
Yeah, it is getting down to the time. You got to get every position ahead of him he can. Well, 15 does. Thomas Frisch has absolutely drove his tail off to get back to the point he is right now. Slightly falling back behind the 5 car back into the 9th position.
Yeah, well, Clifton's found another gear here. He's escaped Frisch. So while he's done that, Matt Seisler, what's going on with Seisler there, Matt? He got way loose off of turn number 4 and has lost, I believe, 5 spots coming down the front straightaway. Tough break for Matt Seisler, but let's take the big cam back up towards the front here as Brian Hacker continues to lead over Joshua Dube. Tripp still third. Now, Reed Christensen into the 4th spot. Look at this. Here comes Clifton, Matt. Look at this. Trying to get back into the top 5 as driver 15.
Yeah, he's got a car between him and points leader Thomas Frisch. I know he's wanting to get 2. Made a little bit of contact with the 16 there, but all is well, and he will fall back in line with the 5 looking to peek underneath him going into turn 3.
Tight, close quarters racing here at the Rockingham Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, doesn't get any better. We appreciate everybody who's joined us so far. Just over halfway in this event here with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association with 26 laps to go, racing 60 laps tonight here at Rockingham. Right now, race leader Brian Hacker in front of Josh Dube. Kenny Tripp rounding out your podium as we sit. But right now, Reed Christensen in a tough tangle with Zach Coyer as Coyer tried to set him up to make the move. Here comes Jeff Clifton. Matt Seisler, a great rebound. He's up back into the 7th spot, Matt.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here looking at this battle between the 16 of Zach Coyer and the 30 of Reed Christensen. Zach Coyer gets to his inside, coming out of 2, going into 3, nose to nose, and it looks like Zach Coyer will get a slight advantage on him. Reed going way up beside the wall.
Yeah, Reed going Larson line there, trying to get some momentum. But, it almost works as he's going to double back down. He's going to go to the bottom, but Coyer's going to close it off here. And Jeff Clifton, contact with Seisler. These two have been locking horns here for the better parts of 10 laps. And right behind them's your 54, your first place in points. Frisch trying to reel in that 15, put him behind him, and extend that points gap as we head into the final round next Tuesday night at the Bristol Motor Speedway. But right now, everybody chasing that man up front. Brian Hacker, your three-car pack is split off from the field by about 2 seconds. It's a Hacker, Dube, and Tripp out front. But while these guys continue to trade shot for shot here, we're going to keep our eyes peeled on this battle right here between Coyer and Christensen. Christensen falling back a little ways, and then right behind them, Seisler and Clifton. Clifton back to the inside. Frisch right in behind these guys. They continue to battle for position here, Matt. 22 laps to go, and this battle for the lead starting to heat up again. Here comes Dube. He peeks to the bottom. Hacker closes the lane off, and Josh Dube just nowhere to go right now for the 9 car.
Yeah, Brian Hacker's doing a real good job of making that rear bumper 3 lanes wide, just about. Keeping that bottom line, keeping it hugged on that yellow line on the bottom.
Well, you know what we call that, right, Matt? You know what we call that, right? So you got your...
I call it catfishing.
Well, sort of, kind of, but you got your bottom, your middle, and your top lane at the racetrack. Now, when you're able to make the car fit in all 3 of those lanes, that's called the Jody Truitt line. And that's exactly what Brian Hacker's doing as we have a caution here. And guess who it is, Matt? Oh, boy, oh, boy.
I was hoping you would tell me.
Oh, well, I'll tell you now. It's Thomas Frisch, your points leader,
Aww.
in the 54. I see him turned around there, and we're going to go back and take a look at what happened here as he's battling alongside the 5 machine and gets up into him just a little bit. That's a racing deal if I've ever seen one. Frisch comes to a stop there on the back straightaway. And that's going to be, I believe, caution number 2 that Thomas has involved in here. So another tough break. A driver that was making his way back through the field, got back up into the top 10, and now finds himself at the tail end here. This is going to make this points battle very, very interesting as we're nearing in on the end of the season here. A couple of cars, Matt, coming to pit road, mostly to fix some damage here. You see Alan Carter, Jeff Dillon, Chad Pilot, all on the pit road here. I believe Frisch going to stay out, so just 3 takers to pit road with 19 laps to go.
Yeah, and great battles all around here. There for a while, the top 3 were single filed out. You know, I was kind of wondering if they were doing that, not trying to advance any positions to try to, break away from the field a little bit, conserve tires. I thought that was the case, but then, you saw the 9 of Joshua Dude trying to peek inside, but was unable to do so because of Brian Hacker running what you called the Jody Truitt line.
That's right. That's been the Jody Truitt line at Sumter Speedway forever. Brian just making that car as wide as the racetrack and nobody able to get around him. So I'm going to coin that phrase, put a trademark on it, because that is exactly what Hacker has been doing here. So we'll see if anybody else decides they need to come pit for some damage. Let's look at Thomas Frisch. I think he's going to continue to stay out here in the 54 and look back towards the front of the field. Lights not out just yet on the iRacing pace car, and so they're going to give him one more pace lap with now, I believe, Matt, it's going to be 16 to go whenever we go back green flag racing here at the ROG for the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. Of course, brought to you by Talkin' Dirt, brought to you by Sumter Speedway, brought to you by Southeast Performance, as well as you see that little logo down there in the bottom left hand of your screen, Outlaw Racing Performance, excuse me. I thought they said Outlaw Graphics for a second. Outlaw Racing Performance, one of your broadcast presenting sponsors for the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. Of course, the series will be back, I believe, starting up again in a couple of months. They're going to take some off time for the off season, and then the series will be back live here on TDTV. But until then, Matt and I are going to try to find some other series that perhaps need a home here on YouTube or Facebook, wherever we decide to stream it. So we are looking for some new series to partner with during the off season for the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association, as I believe, Matt, 1 to go to green has been given to the field. They double it on up as we head into turns 1 and 2. Going to be 16 laps remaining when we get back going.
Yeah, not much race left. So, wondering
plenty
if
of race
these
left.
guys. Well, it's coming to the closing stages. So I'm wondering if who all's used up their tires, who all saved them for the right moment, who's going to push the envelope. Is Brian Hacker going to be able to block his way through run the Jody Truitt line the rest of the way?
That's better.
To the checkered.
That's better. You put some respect on that man's name. As we're going to throw it real quick to the TDTV gyro cam as we come back to a green flag. You see the pace car exiting the speedway. Let's see what Hacker decides to fire. There he goes. We're going to shut up, let him race for a second. Y'all listen to the raw horsepower here in these street stocks as we're back green flag racing. Always good to give a lap or two for these guys to showcase some of their skills here and let the race fans at home just listen to the tremendous sounds of these street stocks. And what we were seeing there on the gyro cam was a battle for the lead. We were watching from Reed Christensen's point of view, but we're back on it here as Kenny Tripp made an attempt for the lead, was snubbed by Hacker, and now he falls all the way back to third, battling right now with Zach Coyer in the 16. Matt, this is getting good. Here comes Christensen. This pack is growing for the lead.
It sure is, and if you look back into the 8th position, you'll see Chris Stump making his way back through the field
He could
as
have been
he
playing this for
is
a full.
now back into the top 10, and we got two single file for the first two cars, and then everybody else behind him is pretty much double wide. Thomas Frisch looking, or actually now is back into the top 10 with Jeff Dillon in 11th.
He is, but Jeff Clifton still in the top 5, making top 6 now as Christensen gets by him on the outside. Clifton needs, Matt, he needs a top 5 finish here if he wants to reel in Frisch at all. And I'm saying that out of his benefit, Clifton needs a top 5 finish here. Christensen making it tough on him, though. As your number 54, Frisch, he continues to march his way back into the top 10, as you said, into 10th, but now he's got to run on that 5 car of Michael Hall, and he might get back into the 9th spot as Frisch into turns 3 and 4. Good looking line. They're running the middle of the racetrack, able to make it work here. He's still even with the 5, but back up front, it's heating up here, Matt, as Hacker doing his best Jody Truitt impression. He's holding up the entire inside and middle line. Nobody able to get around him.
Yeah, you see him single file for the top 4. Well, as I say that, they moved to 2 wide for the second place position, as the 16 of Zach Coyer jumps to the outside of the 9 of Joshua Dube, with the 11 of Kenny Tripp falling right on their trail.
And as we do that, we go down to 10 laps remaining. 2 full hands of fingers in the air from the flagman here at the Rockingham Speedway, as Hacker stretching out his lead ever so slightly, about 0.3 of a second now over Dube and company. As Brian Hacker said last week, he wasn't too sure about Rockingham, but right now he's got to be feeling pretty good. Here comes Kenny Tripp back on the bottom, gets around Zach Coyer, and as they come across the line, Matt, going to be, I believe, 9 laps to go this time. They got to hit the NOS button. Somebody's got to catch Hacker here if they want to knock him off his pedestal.
And we see Reed Christensen falling back a little bit. He's living and dying by the high side. Oh, a little contact between Matt Seisler, Thomas Frisch, and Chris Stump, but everybody seems to straighten it on out. Chris Stump
whoa, Clifton! Clifton!
Oh yeah, we see 15 Clifton spinning out.
Man,
definitely not good for points.
No, man. Oh my gosh, Jeff Clifton from the penthouse all the way to the outhouse here. As we were working down, Matt, I believe we only had about 7 laps to go. And we're going to take another look at this caution here. From right up in him, gets a little bit sideways, then up into Zach Coyer, and around into the grass goes Jeff Clifton. Luckily, avoids contact with all other cars. But, yeah, caution flies here with 7 laps remaining in this 60-lap feature, which makes this a whole new ball game, however. Up front, his Hacker's going to have to try it again if he wants to fend off Dube, Tripp. Coyer's been quick. Christensen's shown burst of speeds. He has shown bursts of speed off the jump here on these restarts. So this one's going to be interesting now, Matt. We're going to restart with about, 4, 5 laps remaining here. This is going to get good, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't see what happened at Dover, where we saw the leader get taken out. But hopefully these guys can race it the rest of the way to the checkered. But Brian Hacker having some phenomenal restarts today on these, and it just seems like he can fire without anybody else realizing it until he's way out in front of him.
Yeah, he absolutely can. Let's see. Dube's going to have to do a little bit better to try and time it up this time. I mean, I guarantee you he's going to attempt to, as I believe we got a wave around car. It'll be the 33 of Daniel Brown. See, they are the Hooters sponsored machine taking his lucky dog. He'll get back on the tail end of the lead lap. Matt, we're going to restart here. I believe it's going to be 4 laps to the checkered flag. So really, really interesting stuff here. The stories are writing themselves right now. You know, you could have Joshua Dube take at the line. You could have Kenny Tripp come from 3rd here. He has shown speed all throughout this race there in that number 11 car, giving me some throwback vibes. Zach Coyer has speed as of late. Christensen has shown bursts of speed. Seisler looking for a top 3 finish here. That would be tremendous for that young man. And Thomas Frisch He's back into the top 7. How far up could he go from here? Only time will tell. As I believe, Matt, we're gonna double him up here, possibly. Or do I still see lights on the pace car? I still see lights on the pace car. So this is gonna be 3 laps to go when we start, I do believe now.
Yeah, I'm not. Do they go by the single file with 10 to go, or do they set it up for double file?
It should be double file all the way because the lights are out on the pace car. I don't know, possibly. It should be double file, but I haven't gotten any word from race director Reed Christensen on that one. But somebody's got to load up a shot here and take Hacker off the pedestal, because since he's come into this series, pretty much had a chokehold on it, of course. Didn't quite win last week, but came from the back of the pack to finish in second. So Brian Hacker, absolutely a man on a mission here, as I believe they're doubling up already. So it's going to be your one to go to green this time. Anybody's ball game here at Rockingham.
And it really is. They've put on some tremendous racing today, I said the right. Sorry. they put on some good racing today, and really everybody inside the top 10 and even outside the top 10, they have all shown spurts of speed. As we've seen Thomas Frisch come from the back twice, Jeff Dillon's coming from the back. With 3 or 4 to go, it, like you said, it's anybody's ball game at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 laps remaining when we go back green flag racing, Matt. If I was anybody in this top 5, it's time to take the crown jewels, throw them over your shoulder, press the gas pedal, and see where she takes you. Because this one's for all the marbles here at Rockingham. Could be our potential final restart of the night here on TDTV. Thanks everybody who's watched us thus far. We got a heck of a finish in store for you as we come out of turn number 4. That iRacing pace car is going to take one last look to the flag stand before it dips down into the pit road. And here comes that 11, Brian Hacker, on the gas early here. Great restart, Matt. Time to load up a shot if you're Kenny Tripp.
Well, you know what I saw? I have to refer back to our personal experiences with iRacing, and we have a little personal inside joke. When I bump you, you go, and that's exactly what happened between both of the 11 cars. But now we see going into turn 3, the 11 of Kenny Tripp, looking inside of Brian Hacker and coming off the corner. He's going to get the lead.
2 laps remain, 2 fingers in the air from the flagman here. We're side by side for the lead at Rockingham. Here with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. They're 2 by 2 by 2 through your top 6. Hacker and Tripp on the front row here. Dube and Coyer both with shots to your top 2. Hacker going to clear him into turn 3 here, man. Coming around, going to be 1 lap remaining, and Brian Hacker might escape with this one. Whoop.
Getting a little dicey there behind Brian Hacker. You got to be enjoying seeing that in your rearview mirror.
Absolutely. There they go.
Contact, and there's the pile up. Literally, just about everybody except for Brian Hacker. That is very unfortunate, as we are still green.
Yeah,
actually.
Man, still green. That one will end this race.
Coming out of turn 4, your winner, Brian Hacker, cruising to an easy win as he stops at the finish line.
So he'll stop at the finish line to make it a little bit closer. And Brian Hacker in the 11th, second career win here with the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association. Matt, I told you this one was going to be wild. Told you that before we went live. This one will get wild, and it did absolutely that. Is some of those guys did exactly what I said to do. They threw them over their shoulders. It didn't quite stick, though, as we had a big pile up down the back straightaway here at Rockingham with Soar. But, hey, congratulations. Second career series victory for Brian Hacker in the 11 machine. And while he's down there celebrating, let's pull up your final results here from your feature event. As your feature winner, of course, was the Empire Racing Team's own Brian Hacker, finishing second. Matt, Zach Coyer finishing third. Rounding out the podium tonight is Dylan Sale in the 12 car. Chris Stump comes home fourth. Alan Carter with the top 5. Brian Toller sixth. Matt Seisler scored 7th. I believe Kenny Tripp finishes 8th. Joshua Doom 9th. Thomas Frisch 10th. Matt, what's the rest of our finishing order here?
Reed Christensen came home in the 11th position. Michael Hall 12th. Jeff Dillon 13th. Daniel Brown 14th. Jeffrey Clifton 15th. And Chad Pilot ending up in the 16th finishing position.
So there are your finishers here, and now we're going to head down trackside because this one got wild, and I got to talk to the man himself who was able to pull out the victory here. Brian, it's Ryan up in the TDTV tower. You got a copy on me, buddy?
I got you, Ryan.
Man, we seem to be talking to you a whole lot here. Another fantastic performance from you, and it's kind of contradicting because last week you told me Rockingham's not your bread and butter, but here we are, man. Another fantastic run for you.
It's definitely not my bread and butter, so to come away with a win here is a good thing. Got quite a bit of help there on that last lap. Made it pretty easy on me. But before I forget, I'll give a shout out to the 9 car. He shoved me down the back straightaway with 2 to go and really got me in front of the 11, and that's what ultimately led me to the win. So thanks to him for giving me that assist down the back straight.
Yeah, man, and all in all, though, really fantastic run all night long, man. Everybody on your tail the whole time, but you just seem to be able to make the car as wide as the racetrack there through the final 20 laps or so. I mean, was it nerve-wracking at all sitting in your seat? I mean, did you see these guys loading up the shots? What was going through your head there as we worked through the last 20 or so?
Yeah, luckily I was able to get a pretty decent run off the corner, so by the time these guys would get to my bumper, they were going to have to send it in pretty hard on the inside, and you just couldn't make the corner with how the speed we're carrying and how this track is shaped. So I would try not to miss my entry, and that's what would set me up for exit, and it seemed to work. I didn't really get super nervous until the 11 got underneath me there in that green white checkered or whatever it was. That I got a little nervous there.
Hey, he gave you a run for your money, that's for sure. But the clear out on the white flag leads you to victory lane once again. And we'll have one more race left in season number 2 here. We'll head next Tuesday night to Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Brian, what are your thoughts going into that one? A little bit shorter than this place, a lot more compact, so might be right up your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every time I say a track doesn't suit me that well, I finish okay. So I'm going to continue to say that. I don't really like Bristol, which is true. I've never been a big... I like it on TV and, old Bristol with Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt and stuff like that. But Bristol on iRacing is not my favorite. I like the tracks that are a little more technical, not these hammer-down tracks. But that being said, we'll be coming from the back, so we'll need a little bit of luck. But should be fun.
Absolutely should, and we cannot wait to see it. But before we let you go celebrate another win here tonight, shout out those sponsors one more time because that's who gets you here.
Yeah, so on the hoods, Carbon Junction, they've been with us for a couple of years. Aberdeen Restaurant, Pathfinder Chassis, Narrative Coffee, and then Empire Racing Team, Chris Stump, who set a blistering lap for fast time and kind of drifted back a little bit, got caught up in some stuff, and then managed to squeeze his way through to a 4th in that big pile up in turn 1. So shout out to him. Thanks for those guys for coming out. I think since my other teammate Justin missed tonight, we'll probably both be starting in the back next week, so it should be interesting.
Absolutely should. But Brian, once again from us up here, congratulations on your second win of the season. And we can't wait to see what you got for us next week as we head to Bristol.
Thanks, guys.
So that was race winner Brian Hacker. And now I believe Matt and I are going to head back down trackside once again where we'll talk to tonight's second place finisher. If I can just pull him up in here with us, it'll be Zach Coyer, driver of the number 12 car. Let's pull him up in here. Zach, it's right up in the TDTV tower. You got a copy on me, buddy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Of course, it's Zach Coyer, driver of the 16 here. And Zach, crazy finish. But, I mean, for most of that race, you were right there, top 5, top 6 the entire time. I mean, how was this race? Of course, 60 laps at Rockingham, not easy by any means. But how was this race before the big one from your perspective?
Yeah, I want to first apologize about that big one. We were all there on the last lap, and like I said, we were all just racing hard. By no means did I mean to mess up anybody's race. And I know earlier I got to somebody, so I just want to apologize beforehand on that. But car felt amazing all night. I had no practice, and I just strapped her in and started in the back. And with the more laps and time, the car just felt better and better. I noticed a lot of people started pushing, so I was starting to burp the throttle, hopefully to save a little tires, and it seemed to work out there at the end.
It absolutely did, because you were right there battling with Reed and some other people for most of that race and into the top five, and then we get to the white flag. The big one strikes, whether you had a piece of it or not. I mean, like, what did you see, Ben? Because obviously I saw what I saw, but what's it like going through something like that from the cockpit of a car?
Well, sometimes you gotta hold on and trust the drivers around you, which I did. But like I said, we were just all hard racing right there. It's just nothing you can do in that situation. I felt like I had a car that can compete for the lead throughout the race. I kept telling myself once I get up there, I'll be able to compete. But knowing that it's Brian Hacker, he's one of the harder ones to get a hold of. I wanted to get some time to see if I could just hang with him a little bit. But yeah, going through that big one, you just got to kind of straighten. Going into turn one, it kind of looked good, and then all of a sudden we're all sideways and there's smoke in front of you, and you just got to kind of hang on to it since it's the last lap and see where you come out.
Hey, hang on to it. You did. You finished second here, and we move into the last race of the season here. We go to Bristol next Tuesday night. I mean, another track that could be right up your wheelhouse here. How are you feeling as we head just a couple of hours west, go to Tennessee?
Well, that's my home track, that in the fairgrounds. So I mean, I feel pretty good going into that. I am points racing at this moment. I know I'm kind of pissed a couple people off, so I'm sure a couple people are gunning for me. But like I said, we're just all out here racing to have fun. But yeah, there is points on the line, so I'm gonna try and do my best to knock as many points as I can and see if I can get in the top three.
Absolutely. No harm in that. Now, before we let you go, celebrate your top three here tonight. Who do you want to thank on the race car? Who's helped you get here?
I want to thank Cold Beard Cameras, Avade Paint Schemes, Dylan Motorsports, and everybody who's helped me put this car together and helped me get the skill to where I need to be at. I want to thank Molly for always supporting me and watching me at home and cheering me on, and Reed for putting this on, and you guys up in the booth for making it fun every week for us.
Well, thank you very much for the compliment, and once again, congratulations on your second place run here. We look forward to many more, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night as we head to Bristol.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Again, that was Zach Coyer, your second place finisher here tonight. And one more person that Matt and I have to have a word with before we get going, and that is third place finisher Dylan Sale out of Port Orange. Now, Dylan, Matt and I were talking about this earlier in the broadcast. Where exactly is Port Orange? You're down in Florida, right?
Yeah, just south of Daytona Beach.
Ah, okay. We were trying to figure that out for a while earlier, and he ended up telling me it was near New Smyrna, where we actually raced just a couple of weeks ago. But let's talk a little bit about tonight. Car obviously was a little banged up from the front, from the start. Remember, you had that incident early on in the race. How were you able to kind of rebound here and obviously put yourself in line to really take advantage of the big one we saw on the last lap?
Yeah, basically, well, once it was probably lap 26, and we had that big wreck. I was able to get that fast repair, kind of get back in line with the field, and kind of just waited it out. It was so hard to make a pass because you had to have all the momentum, and then the bottom really was driving force tonight. The top line really, you lost a lot of spots. So luckily I was hanging out with Alan and Michael Hall all night, and once we saw that big wreck on the last lap, we just saw a hole and dove through it.
Well, you dove through it, and it gets you, man, to a top three. Doesn't get hardly any better than that. I mean, you obviously it could have been way better. You could have won, but a top three, you got to be ecstatic with this one as we head to our final points race of the year, man. Bristol next week. This is the big one. This is for all the marbles. How are you feeling as we head there?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think if put on a good show tonight, I think next week's going to be tenfold. I think it's going to be an exciting week. I think it's going to be a lot of testing and figuring out what the car's going to do with I mean, it's 50 laps, so it's going to be a lot of adjustment throughout the race for sure.
It is indeed. I believe you may be right. I don't know exactly how many laps off the top of my head, but you're probably right there. So we head there next week to cap off the season, but tonight you get a big top three. Who do you want to thank on the race car? Who are those sponsors that got you here this evening?
Basically, I like give a shout out to my stepdad. His birthday's actually tomorrow, and he helps me with a lot of this stuff. And no other sponsors than that. Just shout out to all the family watching and friends and the great support systems that I have.
Well, hey man, Dylan, it's a pleasure to talk to you finally. Top 3 here. Congratulations, and Matt and I will see you next Tuesday night as we head to Bristol for the final race, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too, sir. You too, as that was your top 3 finishers here on TDTV, broadcasting the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association, otherwise known as SOAR. One more time here. Let's run through your field before we hit the road. If I can even pull it up. Come on, thing. There we go. This thing not wanting to work with me here again. Your winner was Brian Hacker. Second was Zach Coyer. Third was Dylan Sale. So on and so forth. 16 cars take the green flag, and I believe 14 end up finishing the race. Man, as we're about to head off here, any closing comments? We got a big one next Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one for sure. We saw a bunch of good racing here, with drivers using the high side a little bit, being able to keep up. Bristol's it's a little bit, the straightaways are a little bit shorter and it's a little more banked. Curious to see if we'll have even more 2 wide racing next week, or shoot, even 3 wide racing.
Hey, I'm just as excited as you to figure it out. The points gap between first and second going to grow a little bit more with the late race incident that happened there with Jeff Clifton. He scored 15th finisher tonight, so he's going to lose even more points to Thomas Frisch, who finishes in the 10th spot. So we're excited to see how that one rounds itself out as we crown your second ever Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association champion next Tuesday night at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So you guys set your reminders to join us then. But for tonight, I've been Ryan Williams, along for my broadcast partner, Mr. Matt Pridgeon, and race director, series promoter, Reed Christensen. This has been another broadcast of the Southern Outlaw Auto Racing Association here on TDTV, and we'll catch you in the next one.